Well, hey guys, I'm Niecy,
And I'm Chad.
and it's going crazy outside, but we're still coming to you live from Las Vegas.
So we live in Las Vegas, and we're new transplants to Las Vegas. Before this, we were living in the Carolinas, and we had some storms there. But this windstorm here today just came out of no place.
This is craziness.
If we showed you outdoors now, you'd be like, "Run, get
Yeah,
out!"
it's just like stuff flying by. It's crazy, but apparently that's what it's like in Las Vegas. If it ain't sunny, it's crazy.
It's this, yeah. So here we are, season 12, episode 5, and the heat is getting turned up.
It's quite a season,
Yeah.
okay? Quite a season.
So, want to get started with Clara and Ryan?
Yeah.
All right.
So Clara and Ryan are doing well. They definitely seem to be vibing still. Definitely seem to have an attraction. And great minds think alike.
Yep.
Yeah, they got up and
Dressed totally accidentally alike.
yeah.
So that means that that marriage is going to be good.
Right, yeah. So they joked about being that old couple that wears the same outfit,
Right.
which we're gonna be any day now.
Right.
Like seriously. So, but that was kind of cute. So, but they seem to be getting along. They had a little date at the dolphin exhibit, I guess, you know,
Mhm, yeah.
which was kind of cool. They both were really into that. Not really my thing, but it was cute, you know.
You know, I was surprised that those dolphins could jump up out of the water and pose for the camera like. I'm not kidding.
Just like that.
They had
That's exactly what the dolphin looks
a
like.
pose going on. And I was
Right.
like, man, those dolphins. Man.
Right.
You know, I'll bet there's probably some kind of Vegas dolphin union they're in.
Not the
They're
dolphin
guaranteed
union. Okay.
fish amount. So anyway, they had a good time at that. They also had a discussion while at poolside regarding kids and so as you know, Ryan's parents were ministers or are ministers.
Yes.
So he was pretty much brought up in the church.
And sounds like Clara was as well. The problem seems to be Clara must have had some sort of negative church experience. And listen, if you've been in church for longer than 2 minutes, somebody in church has offended you. And it's really just a matter of how you processed it. It feels as if Clara was really hurting the church. And all right, come on, Vegas. So, so it feels as if Clara was really hurt in the church, and she is not quite healed from that. And so that's going to be an issue. Right now, her position is she doesn't mind the kids being raised, I guess, with some exposure to religion, but she doesn't want to, quote unquote, choose for them. And I get that, but at the same time, as a Christian, my viewpoint is you raise the child in the way they should go. And of course, when they're adults, you know they have to make that choice for themselves.
Right.
But there's certainly nothing wrong with exposing them to a religious lifestyle, giving them that foundation, which is really what Ryan was saying as well.
Yeah, you know, it sounds good when you say, I'm going to let my children choose. But the problem is
Their children.
they're children and they have no fundamentals or no foundation on which to base their choice. We talk about this often. We were looking at this gospel comedian once. Can't remember his name. But anyway, he was saying that, you know, he was so proud of his son, and his son was like,
It's crazy.
yeah, we've got all kinds of...
I think it was Michael Jr., but I think
Michael
they
Jr.,
were
that's what it
wrong.
was.
Yeah.
It was Michael Jr. And his son was pretty young, and his son comes up to him one day and says, Dad, when I grow up, I want to be a doctor. And he was like feeling all proud, and then this kid said, or a dinosaur. So this gives you a good...
a view into the mindset of a child.
Right.
You know.
So what Clara was saying was that she wanted to allow the child the freedom to decide whatever they wanted, and then she would support it. And I think it sounds great on paper, but there needs to be some foundation. I can't think of a better one than the Bible.
I just think, yeah, I agree, and I think she gets that. I think it honestly did feel a little bit like they're kind of still dancing around the subject, not really getting in too deep. Eventually, they're going to have to really have a come to Jesus meeting about how they feel about these things. But I mean, the truth of the matter is, at the end of the day, it is a parent's responsibility to guide. Listen, if you're raising your child, you are going to impose your beliefs and your values on them.
Just by the fact that they're around you every day and see what you're doing.
Exactly. And so to be more purposeful about it, just because that's in the context of religion, I mean, that doesn't make it a bad thing. It's actually a necessary thing, in my opinion. But even if you're not a religious person, not imposing, but modeling and teaching whatever your spiritual values are. If you believe spiritual health is a good thing, and that they need to be aware of how to manage that, you can't just leave that as a void. It's not, because it's not going to be a void. It won't be a vacuum. It's going to be filled by something. So, so you might as well consciously be the influence on it until they come of an age where they can do it themselves.
Right.
So.
Can we pause for station identification?
Yeah, we better. I really just did it because I know after a while it's going to turn itself off. Right. Anyway, but are we ready?
Yep, we're ready.
All right, we're back.
And so anyway, nice wrap up.
Well, the other thing about Clara and Ryan is living together. That might be an issue as well. And I think it might be a slight issue, but the important part is that they're aware of it, so sometimes just being in front of something can kind of help you navigate through it, and they both seem to be pretty considerate of each other and conscientious sort of thinkers, but the issue of living together did come up. Yep. Yeah.
So she feels, apparently Ryan has a house, and she said that she didn't have a problem with the two of them living in his house.
Right.
However, she would like it to not be, I'm living in your house as much as we're living together in our house.
Exactly. And he brought up the fact that, he is a little particular about certain things.
Right.
And let me tell you something. You're not going to live with a woman too long before, I don't care whose house it was when you started, it's her house.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And so how they navigate that is going to be interesting. The best thing that he can do is recognize that as the woman, she's gonna have some, she's gonna want to make her sort of mark or imprint on the house. She's gonna want to turn it into what her version of a home is. And truthfully, that's not a bad thing. That's really what you want a wife to do. So hopefully he'll give her the space to do that.
I think he will.
Yeah.
I think he will. I think that it's one of those kind of things that, if the guy really loves the woman, he's willing to take a lot of stuff that he wouldn't have taken if his roommate was Boris. Or somebody else.
Well, you know what? It's funny you bring that up because we've got a groom who already figured that out. His name is Vincent.
Right.
And Vincent and Brianna are doing so well right now, and I think one of the reasons they're doing so well is because, Vincent already has the heart of a good husband, which means I just want to keep you smiling, baby.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
A lot of folk, all of this, that's news, that's information for a totally different video. But, equality is not a straight line. Sometimes equality works out because today you have your way, tomorrow I have mine today, and at the end of the month it's
more of an average type thing. Absolutely.
And Vincent seems to have that and not mind it. Also, I think all of his friends who spoke with Brianna in the early part of the show about Vincent, they were all women.
Yeah, his cousins and whatnot.
So he has a woman-heavy family. So and he's grown up in that, so he understands.
Absolutely. So the two of them have really connected very well. They really are the cutest couple right now.
In my opinion,
yeah. And a lot of that, a lot of what brought them together was the opportunity to bond when he got the news about his grandmother.
Yeah, a common thing will often bond people together or groups together. And I'm happy to say that his grandmother is doing better. So it's nothing, doesn't look like it's anything serious. But that did create an interesting opportunity for her and for him to come together, and it's important, it made a big difference.
He expressed how grateful he was that she was so supportive, and then, you know, once they got the news that Grandma was doing better, that her condition has stabilized, it really felt like a shared victory, and you know, that's always going to draw you closer together. So yeah, we find out later on that as a result of all those good feelings, brother got lucky that night. So
they were able to consummate their marriage. In fact, I think they're the only one of two that have done so that we know of.
Yeah. So that's you know, so things are going in the right direction. You know, lots of smiles, lots of touching. They did have he did have an opportunity to deal with bossy Brianna.
Yep.
Yeah, but that was cute too, because you know what? She wasn't really bossy, in my opinion. She was persuasive.
Yes, yes. And that's one of the beautiful things that God's given women to be with in these kind of relationships is persuasiveness.
Yeah. So they talked about their living conditions, and you know, threw out a few options. You know, would you rather live in a condo or a high-rise or a townhome? And so, you know, Vincent sort of gave his input, and then Brianna was like, well, but how would you feel about so and so? And you know, and so he was like, you know, look, he made a point of saying, they told me you were bossy.
Yeah.
But he also said, you know what, if that's what you want, we could do that, you know.
Yeah, you know, look, he's looking at them big old eyes she's got back and them that big smile, and yeah, she's like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Yeah. It happens to me all the time.
Yeah, so they are off to a good start. That's definitely, as long as she will respect the fact that every now and then she's got to reciprocate, you know, I think that they can do very well in their marriage. Because that's, you know, I would say what really matters is who feels the strongest about it. You know, there are certain things that I feel very strongly about that he may have an opinion about, but at the end of the day, he could really take it or leave it. Those are definitely the areas where he's going to take a step back and say, you know, whatever you want to do, babe. And at the end of the day, I try to do the same thing. If there are areas that I know are more important to him or that he's more knowledgeable in, that's when, even if I have an opinion, I try to go ahead and take a step back. And, so, you know, that way we get some balance and nobody feels like they're just being kind of, you know, run over or whatever. Everybody's got a reason to smile.
Yep.
So keep smiling.
So, shall we move on to Virginia and Erik?
Sure.
So, I don't know if any of you who've been watching the show realize it, but Erik is a little bit older than Virginia.
Really?
Yeah.
Shut your mouth and shoot me. I didn't know, but he tells her every 5 minutes, so it's hard to forget. Hard to forget. Let me tell you something. That's going to get old.
Yeah.
You know.
Erik, if you're watching, dude, don't ever tell her that.
Don't tell her no more, because she's going to have to tell you.
Yeah.
And, you know, not to be, well, look, we had to have that conversation, because here's the problem. So, I don't believe there's anything wrong with an age difference, period. To me, the only thing that matters is, number one, that you're both adults. And that you're both adults, not just in age, but that you're on a similar, you know, that you have similar thought processes. In other words, we're not talking about a 28-year-old that really, you know, is kind of delayed or whatever, or thinks like a 13-year-old. You know what I mean? So you've got to really be compatible. And to me, the only reason why you would be in a relationship with someone who wasn't on that wavelength is because you want to be able to control,
right,
or you know, kind of be the person who runs everything or whatever.
The oddity in this, in all of these relationships, is that for us, for example, one of the things that occurred to me is that I did marry an intelligent woman. Now, I was able to make that determination because I knew her. These guys don't know their spouses, so they're depending on the processes that the experts use to put them together with someone who knows the difference between, let's say, hair gel and gorilla glue.
Right. But you know what? That's the type of thing that you give them the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
You've got to let your spouse prove to you that they can't handle certain situations. You don't just walk in and take, this posture of being the authority or the adult. And in a lot of ways, that's what Erik is doing. And that, listen, Virginia likes to drink a little. She gonna snap. Yeah. If he doesn't get a hold of that, he has got to stop telling her. Because listen, if you decide that I'm always the expert because I'm older, what you are essentially doing is telling her you don't have a voice in this relationship. Mm-hmm. You're not old enough. Mm-hmm. You're not smart enough to have a valid thought or a valid opinion. Right. No one is going to be in a relationship like that and be happy. Most people, myself included, are going to extricate themselves from that situation.
I can tell you this, our age difference is greater than theirs by probably 2, okay?
You mean double? Yeah?
Yeah,
okay.
Probably double. But the thing is, even good ideas or a better solution can come from the younger side, maybe faster than it comes from me. So I have to say that some of the best decisions I think we've made as a family came from her that I didn't agree with at first. But I've learned along the way, most of the time, I won't even mention if I don't agree with it. I just want her to run with it and let's see where it goes. I mean, if it's bad, well, we're in that bad thing together and we'll work our way out of it together. But more times than not, way more times than not, it's turned out better. Even though I didn't understand where she was going at first. She understood it, and that was all that mattered.
Absolutely. And some things are just a matter of opinion, You don't have to weigh in on everything just because she does things differently. Look, they have another similarity to us, which is his tendency to be early or on time, and her tendency to be late.
Right.
Or late. So I grew up in a household where we just did not arrive on time to very many things. But once we got married, I noticed that was the complete opposite of his nature. And I don't recall him ever making an issue of it. But because I didn't want to be, just like a source of contention for my husband, I made a conscious decision to work on that. And eventually, that became not a habit anymore. Now I'm thinking more like him. But I feel like if he had nitpicked about it, you know how some of us do. I know how I do. I'd have dug my heels in, and brother, you can show up half an hour late to everything, okay? You know what I mean? So like, why pick a fight if you don't have to,
Yeah. Well, Erik does take a real controlling posture over Virginia about things like being on time and also going out and partying. He's not a fan of how often she seems to like to party.
Yeah, and he's going to be gone half the month, so
he's
he's
an airline pilot. So
last thing he wants is to spend all his time worrying about what Virginia's doing.
And if they don't get control of that thing now, he's going to spend a lot of his time wherever he is on the phone calling her every 5 minutes.
And that's going to get old.
That's not going to be good at all.
Yeah. Because
the other thing is, she says that she has a lot of male friends.
And he did not like that. Yeah. But let me tell you something. Okay, so first of all, I feel like the producers sort of framed it in a way that made it seem like he was like, you can't have any male friends. And I really didn't hear him be that, specific or that, direct with it. But what he did say, I agree with. And that is that he does not believe that when a female and a male are in a so-called platonic relationship, that the male has not considered the possibility of being intimate with the female, and that unless he is, in a relationship with someone else that she knows or that she's close to, or unless he's gay, most likely he would jump at the opportunity to be intimate with her. I think I'm going to say 95% of the time I think he's right.
Yeah, I agree with that. And he did, and you always hear those people say, oh, I don't know, it just happened. No, it didn't just happen.
Exactly.
Exactly. It's been mulling around for a while.
And you know what, that's one of those things where I did not hear him say, you can't be friends with a male. That's not really what I heard him say. But at the same time, I feel like it's not so much as it being a rule as much as you need to be aware. You should be aware so that when you are with these people and things start to go left, you know, okay, I kind of knew this was going to happen, or that there was a possibility, and so maybe you're better prepared to, you know, get out of that without it becoming something that it shouldn't turn into, you know.
So in one of her sidebars with the producers, one of her little sidebar scenes, she did mention that she felt like Erik was jealous of her male friends, and so she's already kind of starting to dig in. So he said his piece. Maybe it's time now to let it be and allow it to sink in.
Yeah.
Because she's already showing signs that, hey, I'm digging heels in.
Well, you know what though? Listen, based on the dynamics that we've seen, they are going to have, and every relationship is going to have these every now and then. They are going to have a serious talk. She's going to have to be able to express to him, I love you, I want to be in this relationship, I want to make it work, but this is what I need from you. I need to be treated like an adult. I need to be respected for my opinion. I need to have, you know, whatever it is, you know, and of course he's got some, you know, here's what I need too, and they're going to have to find a happy medium. But yeah, he's not going to be able to be her daddy.
Yeah.
You know.
It feels like that a little bit now.
Yeah.
Okay, well, shall we move along to Haley and Jacob?
Haley and Jacob, they are kind of surprising.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I wasn't sure.
I think they're both adults, and I think they're ready for a relationship. So even though Jacob is not the most exciting guy,
right?
But having said that, let me say this: he will just take a bite out of a raw and just eat.
And he will apparently put on a pink thong.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think you know, we haven't seen all there is to see. Thank God, we haven't seen all there is to see of Jacob.
Jacob in a pink thong is no.
Yeah,
but
the
anyway,
world didn't deserve that.
Right. But you know, they do seem to be kind of.
Yeah, they seem to be connecting a little better. They were sitting a little closer. Did I see a kiss too? Did they?
Well, when she walked in with him at the mixer that they had at the end, he kind of had his hand way down low on the buttocks.
The buttocks.
Yeah, yes, the buttocks. Yes.
Whatever. Yeah, so they are definitely making more of a connection. You know, he's still got his quirks, but she seems less. You know, I think
offended.
Right, yeah, because initially I think she was like
annoyed.
Oh, okay, you know, and now it's kind of like, okay, not so bad, you know. Yeah. So that, you know, they're getting there. He definitely has different sense of humor, and I think she's still learning what to make of that. Yeah, I'm thinking of the question about how many holes are in a straw, and his analogy. Go watch it if you haven't seen it. It's crazy.
He had an odd analogy.
Yeah.
First of all, how many holes in a straw? Who cares? Okay, but I see where he was going.
Right, yeah.
So, you know, Haley mentioned that she had not been in a relationship for like 7 years, was it?
Right.
So, you know, I'll tell you something, man. I've done a lot of fun things, but none of them top just some of the times I've had with this lady. So, and, you know, when you start to experience that, it can be, what's the word when you keep wanting to keep going? It could be that. You can not want to lose it, put it that way. And I think that's starting to happen to Haley a little bit. Hey, it is kind of nice to have a guy around, and yeah.
Now, here's the one thing that Haley, that really stuck out with Haley, and I think several of these couples need to be mindful of this. Bottom line, he asked her, you know, what her friends were saying. And apparently, the whole time she's been gone, she's been hearing from her friends and keeping them updated about how they're doing and this, that, and the other. No. Okay, just say no. So here's my thing. On your honeymoon, it's about the two of you. You know what I mean? I feel like some of the drama that we have run into this season is directly related to the fact that you all are talking to somebody other than your spouse when it really needs to be about that time together. I don't recall really seeing that or hearing about that in other seasons, but this season, Vincent's hearing from his family about his grandmother, and listen, we all love I love my grandmother to bits, okay? But I'm not a doctor. There's nothing I can do if she has a heart attack. Now, if she was, if it was critical, absolutely, I need to know. I need to get by her side. But if she's stable and there's no, urgency from my presence to be there, and I'm on my honeymoon, don't call me. Okay? I'm probably not going to answer the phone anyway. That's the part I don't understand.
Yeah.
Why are they answering text messages and social media and phone calls? Why are they doing all that? So Vincent had that incident. Haley apparently, I think, is FaceTiming friends every night and all kinds of craziness. Okay? I felt like her friends were a little extra at the reception anyway.
Yeah.
So now they basically came on the honeymoon with you. When we got married, now this was pre-cell phone, pre-social media, all this kind of stuff. But we did have real phones, and listen, we couldn't even afford to go on a real honeymoon, okay? You know what we did? We went back to our empty apartment and unplugged the phone, okay? We didn't deal with anybody that wasn't a waiter at a restaurant or what have you, anybody we didn't want to deal with for about a week. You know why? Because we needed time to connect as husband and wife.
Right.
We needed time to set a good foundation. That is exactly what they're supposed to be doing on this honeymoon. So why they're having all these outside conversations, I don't know. Because guess what? The worst outside conversation is about to come up. And guess who had it? I know you can guess because he brought all the mess this season, right? All the mess came with Mr. Chris, okay?
He did.
So here we come.
So, Chris starts out with, in fact, that episode started out with, he's in the back room in the dark with the producers, and they're whispering, and he had received some news from his ex-fiancée. And the news was...
Ex-fiancée is pregnant. Listen, all the bull. Chris brings all the bull, all the drama, all the nonsense. I have so many opinions about this so-called news, okay? So first let's just talk about how he dealt with it, being Chris.
So he finds out from the producers, but instead
Did he find out from the producers?
yeah. Oh, no.
No,
she called him.
Yes, so I think what we saw was he found out, however he found out. I don't know if she texted him, if they called, that part they don't show. Either way it goes, outside interference, it had nothing to do with a honeymoon. Let me tell you something. I wish my husband would have taken a message from a carrier pigeon from his ex during our honeymoon. Okay, so whatever it was, he entertains this conversation. Then the producers can tell that something major has happened, so they're asking him what's going on and when is he going to tell Paige.
So he shares it with them. So, but when he gets ready to share it with Paige, he's very cryptic, some news, I've received something, but I don't want to talk about it right now. Well, how do you expect her to react to that?
He's an absolute idiot and a butthole, by the way. He really is.
Yes.
He really is. Because listen, I can't stand somebody who will basically light a fire and then get an attitude with you because you think it needs to be put out or because you're getting, a little upset or whatever. And he's like, not right now. We're not putting it out right now. Brother, please.
Yeah, well, under what scenario would she have said, okay, none?
Yeah.
And she didn't.
Yeah.
So when he finally tells her,
it doesn't go well.
It doesn't go well. And of course, for her, it's like, wow, what?
And listen, oh my word. I don't know who else would have put up with Chris and held their composure to the degree that Paige does. I'm telling you, this girl, she must be saved, sanctified, and filled with the Holy Ghost. Because run on for Jesus. Because listen, he has deserved to be slapped so many times. Slapped, cussed out, you name it. He just keeps bringing the bull. Every time you turn around, more drama. So he gives her this news, and it leaves her numb. So, you know, he tells her that the ex is pregnant, okay? Now, let's just talk about this situation. Supposedly, ex is 6 weeks pregnant, and she's known for a while, but just happens to decide she finally needs to tell him while he's on his honeymoon.
Right.
Now, how many red flags did y'all catch in that situation?
Well, look, the other day, I came home and I bought a silver dollar with me.
Uh-huh.
And I flipped that silver dollar 100 times.
Mm-hmm.
You know it landed on heads every time?
I think we're talking about something else now, but...
Well, it's not possible that could have happened.
Okay.
Just like this situation with her that
Okay.
he's trying to convince her of.
Right.
Couldn't have happened this way.
And so, listen, I don't know if just X is being shady or X and he's being shady.
Yep.
There's a whole lot of shady going on. So for y'all who don't know,
Mm-hmm.
a pregnancy carried to full term lasts 40 weeks. So she still has 34 weeks to get to baby,
Mm-hmm.
okay? Technically, ain't none of this got nothing to do with nobody for 34 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm saying. Here's what I'm saying. He is a married man now.
Yep.
He has an obligation to a child if and when a child arrives,
Shows up.
okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if he wants to help out with health insurance, okay, that's a good thing to do. He can do that. I'm not certain that I would 100% say he's obligated to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a nice Christian thing to do, but he has no real obligation to the ex anymore because he's a married man and she's an ex, and they have the only tenuous connection they have is the mysterious pregnancy that she's known about for a while, but didn't find the need to tell him about until he's on a honeymoon with another woman. Girl, bye.
Well, honeymoon with the woman he is now married to.
Well, that's what a honeymoon is.
Here's the other significance. You're right. Here's the other significance to me is that of those two women, the only one he has an obligation to is Paige.
Mm-hmm.
So if the ex thinks, or if he thinks he's going to be taking her to the doctor, no, she can get an Uber. And I'm not trying to be flippant or anything like that. But dude, you are married to this other woman. So you can't be going to the doctor with her and you know no.
Right? And the only reason any of this is coming up is because of your conveniently timed notification, okay? And so now he's all confused about, see, there should be no confusion in any of this.
Right.
There should be no confusion because you said I do. And that's what is so rock solid about Paige. Even though, wow, this is a hot mess, even though, wow, here we go, one more thing with this Negro, that's not the word I was thinking, but here we go with one more. You know what? She's rock solid, and yeah, but I said I do.
Yeah.
I'm a wife now. And wives are supposed to think differently than girlfriends, okay? Especially if you are a woman of God and if you are looking for a biblical marriage. So despite the fact that they just met, they are husband and wife. They stood before God, they stood before their families, they stood before one another and made certain promises. And Paige is trying to be respectful of that.
I believe that.
Yeah, she sat down with Brianna, and Brianna was basically like, "Girl, think about you." And and listen, if she were dating Chris, I would say, run, don't walk, get your stuff, keep it pushing, as she said, chuck the deuces, you know, I'm good on you, going about your life. But she's not a girlfriend.
Right.
She's a wife.
So I think, you know, if we're going to think about this from a biblical perspective, she probably should not leave. But I understand the temptation to do so. And I think that they've got a lot of work ahead of them. I just don't have much confidence that Chris is going to stand up and be an honest person. And I'm not even sure he knows what he wants.
Right. So she is taking the I'm trying to be a good Christian wife stance. Here's one thing about Chris. Chris knows how to say the right thing. So at one point he did say, good Christian husband, you're my wife, you come first, that's all that matters. Baby or no baby, you come first. That's the way it's supposed to be. But one thing we found out about Chris is that Chris knows how to say what's right, but he doesn't know how to do what's right. If he knew how to do what's right, we wouldn't have this conversation at all. According to Chris, he and the ex had broken up months prior. Then her father died, and he went to pay his respects to the father. Now somebody needs to introduce him to 1-800-FLOWERS,
right,
because you don't pay your respects by sleeping with somebody's child.
Right.
And that's what he did, okay, with the person that he was supposedly done with, okay?
That's a little too much respect.
That's a little too little respect, okay? I don't even know where they, I guess that's how they do it in Chicago, okay? Chicago, 1-800-FLOWERS,
Right.
okay? That's how you pay your respects, okay? So, so supposedly that's how this baby came up. Well, either way it goes, 6 weeks ago was long enough to have already begun the process of Married at First Sight.
Mm-hmm.
To me, if you're sleeping with her within 6 weeks, that says that we haven't completely put out this fire.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I honestly believe that ex-girlfriend knew all about Married at First Sight, probably didn't think he was going to get chosen. Now that he has been chosen, it's like, oh snap, wait a minute, I do want you. And I honestly think Chris actually signed up for it to make her jealous.
That could be because the whole Married at First Sight process, I'm sure, I don't know how long it is, but I'm betting it's longer than 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And in 6 months would hold all the stuff that's going on.
I don't think it takes that long. But I could be wrong. I don't know. I could be wrong. I'm guessing it's more maybe two months. But I don't know. I'm going to look it up, see if I can find it out. But let me tell you something.
I'll have that in the next episode.
Yeah, so I believe that Chris signed up to make her jealous, and I think that he thought if he did get matched, he would get the trophy wife that he thinks he deserves, and then that would really show ex-girlfriend, you should have took me when you had a chance.
Because I'm a TV star,
right,
and now I got this trophy.
Right. So then, oh, surprise, surprise, she's not the trophy that you thought. Let me tell you something. You're not going to do no better than Miss Paige. Miss Paige got it going on. Yeah. She's going to make somebody a great wife. I'm going to stop right there. But she's a wonderful, godly woman. She's going to be a great mother, a great wife. She's going to help somebody build a great empire. If that person is not Chris, more power to the next person. If it is Chris, y'all lift her up in prayer, because he's crazy as all get out. Okay?
Right. So that's, Paige and Chris. So at the end of the episode, they had a little couples mixer, and where they had, set aside a room where the couples could go and have some drinks and talk and laugh and all that good stuff. So in that, first of all, Virginia and Erik arrived late. So
right.
one of Eric's problems with Virginia is she's often late.
Right.
But they did roll in late. I think they'd been kind of partying a little bit.
Yeah, and he didn't, he took it in stride. He didn't seem to have a problem with it. So, that's a good sign. Yeah.
Paige and Chris did share the ex-fiance pregnancy news with the group. And, Erik, once again, he jumped into the father mode. And he's like, look, if you want to make it with this girl right here, you better start thinking about her right now.
But listen, I was there for it, okay? Listen, Chris is the type of person that left to his own devices will follow after whatever his emotions and feelings tell him. Right. For a Christian man, he sure knows how to walk after the flesh. So he kind of needs somebody to be his conscience. So I don't have a problem with Erik hemming him up. Somebody needs to do that at all times.
Well, the preview suggests it's going to be quite a bit of hemming.
It's going to get feisty. Yeah.
Brianna and Vincent shared during the mixer that they had consummated their marriage. So right now, Paige and Chris and Brianna and Vincent seem to be the only ones who did. But look, Erik wanted to make sure they understood that he could have done it right away. Right.
Yeah,
he could have. But, I was just trying to wait. But I went.
Yeah. All right. So, that was interesting. But looks like next week things are going to heat up a little bit more with Erik and Chris. So.
And as always, we will be right here to report every bit of action that happens.
Absolutely. I don't know what that was. But thank y'all for watching. We hope you enjoyed it. Tell us what you think, child. I know you got some thoughts about Chris, child. He's crazy as all get out. Yeah, so we need some comments. Please like, please subscribe, please come back and be blessed.
Tell a friend.
Bye.